Hey, hello guys. I'm trying to make my first video on my YouTube channel in English, and as I already said in my Russian videos, I'm not very good at understanding how to be a good YouTube blogger. I'm not sure how to do all of that. And of course, my English has a lot of accent, and I hope the light outside of my car is okay. You can see me fine. And I'm just learning. I'm learning, but the most important, I have good ideas, and I want to share some of my ideas with you. And I'm not gonna correct or edit my videos much, even if I mess up. That's the way I am. I mess up a lot. So my YouTube channel is called Russian Renaissance. I'm going to analyze a lot and talk about my personal feelings about my life in America. And one of the reasons why I decided to do that, because since I came to US, I've met a lot of really good people. When I lived in Russia, sometimes I wasn't sure what America is like, and I kind of had much worse opinion about America before I came here. I immigrated 10 years ago, and I kind of feel more like a researcher and traveler and historian. I don't feel so much like an immigrant anymore, because I'm still a very Russian person, and I'm also a very American person in some of my manifestations. So I think some of my videos probably will be more analytical, because I'm a history major. I like talking about societies, about values, about how we all can be friends despite all the bad social media. And I like analyzing a lot, and some of my videos might be more emotional, just more like expressing my feelings. Some of my videos might be more analytical about society. They might be a little bit kind of boring, but at the same time, I see a lot of YouTubers who have a lot of feelings but don't always know enough about Russia and don't know enough about America in terms of history and social change. And it makes videos really cute and really nice, but not always very deep. I want to be deep about my conclusions. I want to be deep in my opinions. At least I want to do my best. I want to do my best. But this video also will have a lot of my emotional things, because I kind of just want to tell why I never say bad things about America. And if I do, it comes from my heart. It comes from my heart, and I'm not saying, and I don't criticize to feel good about myself as a person from a different culture. You know what I mean? I hope it kind of makes sense how you're from a different country and you want to say bad things about US just to feel better about yourself because you weren't born here. So that's really not my story. If I ever criticize something about US, it's more because I want things to be better, because I want my kids to be happy here. I want people to be happy here. And I'm just a very honest person. I know that certain things, if I tell them, they were analyzed. I was thinking about it. It's not just like, oh, I decided to say it. It's based on my experience and my education. So I really hope after some videos in English, my English will get some better and you will understand it well enough, and also you will develop some trust, because I'm a very honest person. This is my thing number one. About my experience of coming to America, let me adjust my chair because I look kind of weird. I came to America 10 years ago. Oh, I think I'm gonna just adjust it and set it on my steering wheel, but I still look weird, so I'm sorry about that. My no, I still look weird. Okay, so my stepfather traveled in Russia, and he has met my mom. And back then, I was thinking, oh, it's kind of cool. They're gonna get married. My mom will have a husband and stuff like that. But I wasn't really going to immigrate to US. It wasn't like I was sitting like, oh, I'm immigrating to America. It's so amazing. It wasn't like that for me. I had really good life in Russia. A lot of friends. I worked in informational center at the university. That means you meet a lot of famous people in your country, in your city. You organize public meetings. So you pretty much have very rich life. And I do have rich life here as well. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that I came from the background where you have education, where you have a lot of access to wonderful things. And despite all the difficulties we had in Russia, back then it wasn't my plan to immigrate. I had some thoughts like maybe there are certain things I didn't like, but not to the degree that I was really sitting on suitcases and waiting to immigrate somewhere. It wasn't like that. But so my mom has met my stepfather, Alan James. Within a couple years, we immigrated. But the story of my immigration was, it was pretty much like I was 20 years old, and my mother told me, if you don't immigrate now, you will have difficulties after you turn 21. And I started thinking, she started thinking. So a month before she left, I was also told that I'm leaving. So it was kind of like I left Russia after I was told that I'm leaving Russia only 4 weeks before I left Russia. So that was kind of like I didn't know like how is it going to be. But I had a really good support here. My stepfather and his family, James' family, they were where they were. I think my English gets worse and worse. I get nervous. I'm sorry about that. Forgive me. Okay. James' family, they were very accepting people. They accepted my culture. They knew that I'm from Russia, that sometimes I want Russian food. They really loved Russian food. And if you have Russian friends, guys, please give them a chance to feed you sometimes because we really love food. So this is kind of what we're like in our culture. Like, please eat one more piece, one more piece. That's always like that. It's kind of funny, but I have noticed I also have all of that stuff in me, even though I used to think, oh, I'm such a, fashionable, modern girl. I have piercing and all of that. And like, I'm the same as Russian women. Like, one more piece, please. I have that in me too. So, and I've met a lot of amazing people in America, a lot of great Americans, a lot of people who were nice to me, respectful, some people who were very suspicious, but my feeling that a lot of people suspicious about Russian culture because they know a very small snippets, like a very small amount of information, mostly about Soviet Union, KGB, and all of that. But Russian culture is very rich. We have a lot of, classical music, literature, something that probably the most educated Americans usually know, but general audience sometimes doesn't know that. Maybe I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. So prove me that I'm wrong. And so basically, I came to America and I've met a lot of amazing people. And I still feel like a traveler and researcher, and I've met a woman. I really want to mention that. I had a friend who taught me to drive because in Russia, public transportation is really good. So you usually don't drive, especially when you're a young person, you're still at the university. You don't necessarily have enough money at that point of life in Russia. So you usually use public transportation to get to school, to work. And that was really something new for me. So I met a woman who believed in me so much that I learned how to drive. And within a month, I was driving like 80 miles per hour, and she was just sleeping in my car, like, oh, I trust you, Victoria, you're fine. So this is the kind of people I've met in America, and they made me feel home. They made me feel great. But I've met some people who were not very accepting of Russian culture, very suspicious. And my feeling is that it has something to do with how little people know about like simple Russian life, not like Kremlin, KGB, Soviet Union, war, and all of that. Just a simple Russian family. So I was always thinking it would be so good to make like a Netflix movie or something about regular Russian family, just to see how simple it all is. It's just like you eat, you sleep, you go to school. It's nothing crazy is going on really. I mean, we love parties and family gatherings, but besides that, we're just like all other people, I guess. Um, so I guess that's just my take on why I never say bad things about America, while I do hear some people say bad things, especially immigrants sometimes do that. And sometimes it's a reasonable criticism. Sometimes maybe just reaction to pain because it's difficult when you move from a place where you had certain habits, and sometimes you just want to say critical comments. Sometimes those comments make sense, sometimes they don't. But I just really love being in good relationships with people, and I always try to understand everybody. And if people do bad things, or say something not so good about my country, I usually try to teach them by how smart and respectful I am, not by screaming at them. So that's a very difficult way to educate people, but I do that. I do stay positive. I do stay polite. I do stay educated, smart woman from Russia if I meet some strange stuff. So I hope that I explained a little bit about my life, and if you want to explore more, I'll be talking a lot about education, comparisons between American and Russian education. Um, Maybe I'll be talking about food as well, because Russian food is simple, but it's very nutritious. It's rich. It has a lot of good stuff. Um, and let me check. Maybe I had some other points that I wanted to talk about. I apologize. I'm reading. Yeah, I think I kind of mentioned most of the things, but I forgot to say a couple words because I kind of felt really emotional today about my American grandma, Jean James. It's a mother of my stepfather from America who became kind of like my father. They lived with my mom for 10 years. They divorced after 10 years, but I still communicate with my stepfather. We support each other. And I really loved his mom, and his mother became more of my real grandmother than my Russian grandma. Unfortunately, we had a little bit difficult relationships there between my mom and my dad and his mom, that kind of situation, jealousies, women, and all of that. I'm sure you understand what I'm trying to explain. But Jean James, she just told me so much about life, about how women lived in America. They had their own struggles, the same as the Russian women. And I've learned how Soviet women, for example, went to school and became bosses in the society long before American women were able to do the same thing. So it's not like I'm boasting, I'm just saying that society is always kind of yes and no. It's not that easy. Like everything is great in America and everything is bad in Russia. It's not like that. It's like something is good, something is bad. It's always about checks and balances, I guess. So it's really confusing. Maybe this video is a little confusing and I'm kind of emotional because I was thinking a lot about my grandma. So if there is a place where she can kind of see me and hear me, I really love you, Jean. and I miss you. And you became my real grandma. And you're one of the reasons why I never say bad things about America. And if I do, it comes from my heart. It doesn't come from hatred. So thank you for listening. And subscribe to my channel. And you will learn more about me and what I think about Russia, what I think about US. So just have a good day. Bye bye.